Let's use the VNTANA Browzwear plugin to export, upload, and optimize our assets automatically. Before we get started, let's make sure that the plugin is listed within our plugin settings. So go to vStitcher, Preferences, and toggle to the plugins. Perfect. Here we see that the VNTANA Exporter plugin is active and loaded successfully. You do not need to check this every time. This is just really good to check the first time that it's been installed. So let's go ahead and make sure our 3D is exactly what we want before we go through these steps. I know that I do not want my avatar in this export, so let's hide that avatar and spin around one more time and make sure the garment is exactly what we want. Great. Now that our garment has been QA'd, we can go ahead and toggle to Plugins, VNTANA Exporter plugin, and select Open VNTANA Exporter. Once you've signed into the plugin, there are two things that you need to set on this first screen. The first thing that you need to set is the actual platform location you want to upload to. So today I'm uploading to this organization and the Aaron folder. If I wanted to make a new folder, I can press the plus icon and type in the new folder name. And if that's the name that I wanted, I can go ahead and press the check mark to complete the action and set that as my upload location. We're not going to create that folder today, so I'll press the X button. Now we need to specify if we want to go ahead and export and upload the single project that we have open or multiple Browzwear files. If we select the current project only button, our next field has actually updated from garment folder to output folder. So for an individual upload, we just need to specify the folder that we want to export our GLB to. So I want to export it to this folder. If we were uploading a batch of files, we would not check current project only, and we'll see that that field has changed to garment folder. And you just want to make sure that this folder is set to the folder that has multiple Browzwear files in it. Today we are only going to do this single file, so I will enable current project and my output folder can remain the same. So let's go to the next screen. On this screen, we can actually set some basic settings for our export. I mentioned that I do not want the avatar included in my export, so I'll leave that at no. My snapshot that has loaded here is not actually the one in 3D and the one in 3D is what I want to upload. So I'm going to just open the drop down and toggle to the correct snapshot. Now for colorways, we could upload all, custom. So custom is the selection of colorways that you've indicated, or we can upload just the current colorway. If you are uploading a batch of files, just make sure that the settings that you set here are the correct settings for all of those files, specifically your colorways. Now for our optimization settings. We can specify if we want to update an existing product or not. Today, we are not updating an existing product. Under load settings, you can select between some presets that you've created. I'm going to use default for now, but these load settings, if you make a preset, they will be stored locally onto your computer. Only you will have them, but they will be a quick way to set the exact settings that you want for your upload. By default, these settings should be good enough for you to use. I do want to go ahead and adjust some of my texture compression settings, however. I'm going to uncheck KTX. I will leave Bake Ambient Occlusion on. This will add a nice shadow to the garment and make it look realistic. I'm also going to change my resolution to a 4K texture and bump up my aggression to 3. Now, just be careful. These settings will actually create a larger optimized file size, but that's okay for me because I want the texture quality more than I want a small file size. If you wanted a small file size, you could actually just use the 2K texture resolution. But we'll leave it at 4K for now. And now we can go to the last screen before we begin this whole export and upload process. Here on this screen, we can add tags and attributes. I'm going to add this SS24 tag. I can just select it from that drop down, and to make sure that it's actually added to the project, you do need to press the plus icon, and then you'll see it's been officially added. I'm going to skip attributes for now. Remember, if you are uploading a batch upload, everything that you add on this screen will be added to all of those Browzwear files. Don't worry, if you've added a tag by mistake to all of them, you can quickly edit that in platform once the upload is complete. So now we are ready to actually begin the export and upload process. So to do that, we can press save. And at this point, you can't actually interact with VStitcher. The only thing that you can do is move it out of the way. So one thing that I recommend doing is minimizing VStitcher before you begin this export process. That way, if you need to do other things, you've got that screen space to do other things, and you can just move this window out of the way. It's really good to double check all of your files if you're uploading a batch of files, because if any of those files have a pop-up window that opens when you're loading a snapshot, a colorway, opening the file, all of those files with a pop-up, the plugin will not be able to interact with, which means it will skip that, or it won't be able to complete the batch process. So just make sure that there are no pop-up windows specifically for your snapshots if you're uploading a batch upload. Once the process is completed, this window will update letting you know that the process has been completed. At this point, you could dismiss this message and go back a few pages and redo an upload. So now let's close this plugin and check on our upload in platform. Here is our final upload. Over here on the left, we have our product details information, so we can see those settings that were used during the optimization and texture compression. And here we can also see under our downloadable assets, we can see our original file poly count vertices and our optimized poly count and vertices, as well as the file size. So this was a pretty massive file to begin with, and we were able to optimize it down to 7.8 megabytes, which is a huge win. Let's take a look. And that's the VNTANA Browzwear plugin.